There is a hidden secret that could save you thousands. Modern solutions aren't always better. At Mr. Marcus Thorne, we look back to find the powerful knowledge that has been lost. Fortes fortuna adjuvat. Fortune favors the bold, but it also favors the prepared. Now, let's go deeper. There is a wall system that physically heats your home in the winter and cools it in the summer, completely without electricity. There is no furnace. There is no air conditioner. There is no monthly bill. There is just sunlight, concrete, and a sheet of glass. It was invented over 60 years ago. It was rigorously tested by the United States Department of Energy, validated by the Los Alamos National Laboratory, and successfully installed in thousands of homes across 3 different continents. And then, the heating and cooling industry buried it. They did not stop using it because it failed. They stopped talking about it because it worked too well. A wall that permanently eliminates your energy bill cannot be sold as a recurring subscription. And what cannot generate monthly revenue cannot be allowed to spread. This is the untold story of the wall that literally heated empires, and the exact system the modern energy industry made you forget. If uncovering these suppressed historical facts matters to you, hitting the subscribe button is the absolute best way to make sure this knowledge survives. To truly understand how a simple wall can completely replace an entire mechanical heating and cooling system, we need to go back to ancient Rome. In the 1st century, Roman architects discovered something remarkable about massive stone walls. If you built a thick wall facing south and painted it a dark color, it naturally absorbed heavy heat from the sun all day long. Then, at night, that stored heat slowly radiated inward, deeply warming the interior rooms for hours after sunset. They simply called these structures thermal mass walls. No fuel, no fire, no maintenance. The wall did all the work. Roman villas across the Mediterranean used this exact principle for centuries. But it was not just Rome. Over in Persia, architects built massive adobe walls that absorbed the brutal desert heat during the day and released it slowly to survive the freezing desert nights. In ancient China, the Kang system utilized heavily heated walls and platforms to warm entire households through absolutely brutal Mongolian winters. For thousands of years, civilizations universally understood a basic truth. Walls were not just structural barriers, they were thermal batteries. Now, fast forward to 1967. A brilliant French engineer named Félix Trombe was working at a solar energy laboratory high in the Pyrenees Mountains. Trombe was completely obsessed with one logical question. Why are we constantly burning expensive fuel to heat buildings, when the sun naturally delivers more energy to the Earth in one single hour than all of humanity uses in an entire year? He partnered with a renowned architect named Jacques Michel. Together, they explicitly designed what would become the most elegant, passive heating system ever created in modern history. Here is what they built. A south-facing wall made of dark painted concrete or masonry, exactly 8 to 16 inches thick. A sheet of standard glass mounted exactly 4 inches in front of that wall, creating a perfectly sealed air gap. And finally, simple vents cut at the top and the bottom of the wall, explicitly connecting that trapped air gap directly to the interior of the house. That was it. That was the entire system. No moving parts, no complex wiring, no combustible fuel, no expensive filters, and absolutely no $150 technician visits. Here is exactly how the physics work. Sunlight easily passes through the glass and strikes the dark, dense wall. That wall actively absorbs up to 95% of that incoming solar energy. The air currently trapped between the glass and the wall heats up rapidly, frequently reaching temperatures above 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit, on a bright, sunny winter day. Because hot air rises naturally, it flows right through those top vents directly into your living space. Simultaneously, the cool air from inside your room is naturally pulled in through the bottom vents to replace it. This creates a powerful, continuous convection loop that silently circulates warm air through your entire home all day long. But that is only half of the system. The thick concrete wall itself continues to deeply absorb heat throughout the day, like a giant thermal battery. After the sun sets and outside temperatures begin to violently drop, the wall slowly releases that massive amount of stored heat directly into the house. It provides 8 to 12 hours of steady, radiant warmth all night long, without you spending a single cent on electricity or gas. Now stay right here, because the actual laboratory numbers behind this system are about to make the modern energy industry incredibly uncomfortable. Here is where the numbers get truly uncomfortable for the modern energy industry.
The United States Department of Energy funded highly extensive research on Trombe walls during the 1970s oil crisis. The Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico physically built and tested dozens of Trombe wall prototypes. Their official findings were staggering. A properly designed Trombe wall can comfortably provide 30 to 50% of a home's total heating needs. In highly sunny climates, like the American Southwest, that number jumps to 70%. A peer-reviewed study published by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory found that Trombe walls located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, reduced annual heating energy consumption by 47% compared to conventional insulated walls. 47%. Nearly half of your heating bill, completely eliminated by a simple wall.
Pause. But Felix Trombe was not finished. He soon discovered that by adding operable vents to the exterior of the glass, the exact same wall could actively cool your home in the summer. Here is how. Open the exterior vents at night and close the interior ones. Cool night, air naturally flows through the gap, deeply chilling the massive concrete wall. During the day, you close the exterior vents and open the interior ones. The heavily cooled wall absorbs the ambient heat from the room, acting as a massive, passive air conditioner. Heating in winter, cooling in summer, all from the exact same wall, with absolute zero energy input.
Researchers at the Indian Institute of Technology strictly tested this dual-mode system in 2015. They measured interior temperature reductions of 6 to 8 degrees Celsius, up to 14 degrees Fahrenheit, during peak summer heat, without using a single watt of electricity. A research team at the University of Sheffield in England found that adding phase change materials to the wall increased its thermal storage capacity by 40%. The wall became even more hyper-efficient. Scientists at MIT calculated that if just 10% of American homes installed Trombe walls, the country would immediately save over 12 billion kilowatt-hours of energy per year. That is literally enough electricity to fully power 1.2 million homes for 12 straight months. The technology is proven, extensively tested, and heavily documented in hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific papers. And yet, almost nobody has ever heard of it. So why is this wall not built into every new home in the world?
Why did architectural schools completely stop teaching it? Why does your local energy company never, ever mention it? Because the global heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, HVAC, industry generates over $240 billion per year. $240 billion. And that massive revenue depends entirely on one single thing: your absolute dependence on their machines. Every furnace sold, every air conditioning unit installed, every filter replaced, and every expensive technician visit schedule generates recurring revenue. A Trombe wall generates zero recurring revenue. You cannot sell a monthly subscription to sunlight. You cannot patent concrete and glass. You cannot aggressively charge a monthly maintenance fee for thermal mass. The wall does not break down because it has zero moving parts that can break. It does not need servicing because there is literally nothing to service. It does not need replacing because dense concrete easily lasts for centuries.
You build it once, and your heating bill officially drops by half, forever. The entire business model of the HVAC industry strictly requires you to believe that modern comfort inherently depends on complex, expensive machines. A wall that perfectly does the same job for free is not just market competition. It is an existential threat. So what actually happened? During the 1970s oil crisis, governments heavily invested in passive solar research. The United States, France, and Germany successfully built thousands of Trombe wall homes. The technology was advancing rapidly. Then, global oil prices violently collapsed in the 1980s, and the research funding vanished overnight. Programs were permanently defunded. University courses on passive solar design were deliberately removed from standard architecture curricula. Building codes were aggressively rewritten to heavily favor mechanical heating and cooling systems.
The massive HVAC industry lobbied hard, and they lobbied effectively. By the 1990s, the Trombe wall had been completely erased from mainstream construction knowledge. Not because it failed, but because it made the wrong people lose money. Today, architecture students graduate without ever hearing the name Felix Trombe. Contractors happily install $50,000 HVAC systems in homes that could easily be heated by a wall. And homeowners blindly pay hundreds of dollars every single month for a problem that was definitively solved 60 years ago with just concrete, glass, and sunlight. Now, I need to be completely honest with you here. The Trombe wall is not a perfect, magical solution for every single climate. In far northern regions with very little winter sun, its overall effectiveness drops significantly. In highly humid tropical climates, the moisture management between the glass and the wall requires highly careful architectural design. And yes, retrofitting an already existing home is inherently more complex than building one from scratch.
But for the vast majority of temperate and sunny climates, which actively covers most of the populated world, this technology works flawlessly. It has been proven over and over again. The limitations are real, but entirely manageable. It is the corporate suppression that is truly unforgivable. Here is exactly what you can do. If you are building a new home, an off-grid cabin, or renovating a garage, strictly find the south-facing wall with the absolute most sun exposure. That is your Trombe wall location. Build or retrofit that specific wall section with 8 to 16 inches of highly dense concrete, masonry, or brick. Paint the entire exterior surface matte black. This deliberately maximizes the solar absorption. Install a large sheet of tempered glass exactly 4 inches in front of the wall surface, perfectly sealed at all the edges. Cut 2 rows of vents directly through the concrete wall, 1 row near the floor and 1 row near the ceiling, each about 4 inches in diameter.
Install simple, manual dampers on the vents so you can easily open and close them depending on the season. In the winter, open the interior vents and close the exterior ones. The natural convection loop actively heats your home. In the summer, reverse the entire process. Open the exterior vents at night and close them during the day. The thermal mass wall actively cools your space. The total material cost for a standard 12-foot by 8-foot Trombe wall section is between $500 and $1,500. Compare that to a new central HVAC system that costs between $7,000 and $15,000, plus hundreds of dollars per year in electricity and maintenance forever. A Trombe wall literally pays for itself in the very first winter. A dedicated homesteader in New Mexico built a Trombe wall on his south-facing garage 3 years ago. His expensive propane heating bill dropped by 60% in the very first winter. He has spent $0 on maintenance since.
A family living in southern France successfully retrofitted 2 walls of their stone farmhouse in 2019. They eliminated their electric heater entirely. Their home naturally stays between 18 and 22 degrees Celsius, 64 to 71 degrees Fahrenheit, year-round, with absolutely no mechanical system whatsoever. These are not theoretical experiments. These are real people living with proven technology that works. Technology that someone in a boardroom decided you should not know about. Felix Trombe died in 1985. He spent his final years helplessly watching the massive industry he challenged actively dismantle everything he built. His funding was cut. His research was shelved. His wall was systematically erased from the textbooks. But concrete does not forget. Glass does not forget. And the sun does not care about their quarterly earnings reports. This vital knowledge did not die. It was simply buried.
Buried under $240 billion worth of mechanical machines designed to keep you permanently dependent. But buried is not destroyed. Every wall you build is a wall the industry cannot sell around. Every home that naturally heats itself is a home that escapes their system. We did not lose the Trombe wall. We just stopped looking. If this video opened your eyes to what is possible, hit subscribe and share it. Every single share actively preserves the knowledge they try to erase. I am Mr. Marcus Thorne, and remember, fortes fortuna adjuvat. Fortune favors the bold. I will see you in the next video.